briefly mention, in a few hours I'll be joining President Trump on Air Force One to go to South Louisiana. We'll be going to an LNG export facility right out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and it's a Sempra Energy facility. It's a multi-billion-dollar, privately funded export facility where they're taking in natural gas, liquefying it, and then sending it out to the world, and in many cases sending it to our allies around the world who are getting their energy today from Russia and will no longer have to be getting that energy from Russia because of good, smart American energy policy. So it creates great jobs at home, but it also allows us to help our friends around the world to get their energy from America instead of Russia. So I welcome President Trump to South Louisiana to see this facility. It's something impressive to showcase, and I think he's going to be very impressed by what he sees in terms of how good, smart American energy policy is translating into jobs and geopolitically helping our friends.
Congressman, can I ask you about China very quickly?
Yeah.
The president has repeatedly said that China is paying tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars into the U.S. coffers in the form of these tariffs. You know that's not the way it works. Have you advised the president that it's actually American companies and consumers that will actually pay those price increases?
Well, ultimately, we've seen the American economy suffer because China doesn't play by the rules. They don't comply with trade agreements. They steal our intellectual property. And we've been in a trade war with China for a long time. I'm glad that President Trump is standing up to him. I'd like to see it resolved quickly. I think we all would. But at the same time, I think it's important that America is treated fairly and that tariffs are dropped on both sides because we've finally come to an agreement that can properly be enforced.
But to the question, obviously China doesn't pay those tariffs. Does the president recognize that it's not China that pays tariffs to the U.S. Treasury, but American companies and consumers that will see prices go up?
Well, the president's acknowledged, even talking about how farmers, he stands up for farmers. He knows that in any kind of trade war, you want to make sure that we're able to get out of it with a better deal for our country, that we're going to be treated fairly. So at the end of the day, it's about being treated fairly and about China playing by the rules and being able to properly enforce rules if they don't comply. And unfortunately, they've got a track record of not complying.
Congressman, there are already 3 investigations into the origins of the Russia probe. Why was it necessary, do you think, for the Attorney General to launch yet another investigation?
Well, I haven't spoken to the Attorney General about it, but for a long time, we've had real concerns about the origin of the whole Russian hoax and about what happened with the election. Look, first of all, we know Russia interfered with the election. They interfered with the election when Barack Obama was president, and I'm not sure why he sat by and let it happen. But at the end of the day, it's important that we root out if there were people at the FBI that were using their positions of power to carry out a political agenda, their own personal political agenda, instead of doing their jobs. We've had real concerns about that, including abuses of the FISA court. And I hope all that's looked into because they need to restore the credibility of the FBI by rooting out any bad apples that are over there.
What do you say to Democrats who say this Attorney General is behaving more like the president?
Saying what?
What do you say to Democrats who argue this Attorney General is behaving more like the president's personal attorney than the Attorney General for the United States? And this is yet another example of that.
Well, this Attorney General is trying to restore the credibility of the good men and women at the FBI who go to work and do their job every day to defend and represent our country. But there are some people over there, and we've already exposed a few of them, who were there to carry out their own personal political agenda. That's a blatant abuse of power, and there's absolutely no place for that in agencies like the FBI. And so I would hope he roots out those bad apples and then, again, help restore the credibility of the FBI, which this has been coming for a long time.
How do Republicans within Congress view tariffs in general? I mean, it used to be Republicans were against tariffs as a whole, but now all of a sudden are Republicans for the idea of actually using tariffs as a tool?
What I want as a conservative is free trade. What we have not seen from a lot of countries is free trade with America. You see a lot of countries that use tariffs against us, and we don't reciprocate because we've basically been allowing a lot of countries to have access to our markets, especially in places where they don't allow us to have access into theirs. And so what you're seeing President Trump doing is saying, let's be treated fairly around the world. The USMCA agreement, by the way, is an opportunity for America to renegotiate a better deal with Mexico and Canada, which it is. I'd like to see USMCA passed through the House and Senate, and then ultimately see Canada and Mexico pass it as well, because then you'll see better relationships with our trading partners. We'd like to see an opportunity where no countries would have tariffs against us and vice versa. Unfortunately, we don't see this. A lot of countries don't treat us as fairly as they should, and President Trump is standing up for our economy. Again, USMCA would be a great opportunity to show the world how we can get better trade deals, and then let's go negotiate better trade deals with other countries, including China. One more.
Thank you, Congressman. I'd like to follow up on Peter's question because you didn't actually answer it. Can you, sir?
Well, maybe not to your liking, but.
Well, no, it was a simple question. Can you, sir, acknowledge that tariffs are paid by American companies and consumers and not by China? Can you acknowledge that at least?
Well, American consumers have been paying tariffs that have been imposed by foreign countries for a long time, and in many cases at a dramatically higher level than any tariffs that America has. In some cases, tenfold, and you can check the numbers. And so if a country has tenfold higher tariffs against us than we have against them, shouldn't we all try to get a better deal for America and ultimately get to a place where there's no tariffs on either side? Unfortunately, there are a lot of countries that don't treat us that way. And so it's time that we finally recalibrate. So I'm glad that the president's standing up to China, and I'm hopeful that he's going to be successful at getting this resolved. Thank you.
Can you comment on the escalation with Iran?
Thanks, Congressman.
In New Orleans. Just a hint.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not the